Welcome to Bell Podcast, powered by IBN. This original audio production delivers market and sector insights, as well as exclusive interviews with innovative executives shaping the future in fast-moving industries, and may feature a client partner of IBN or one of the 60-plus investor-focused brands within IBN's dynamic brand portfolio. As a multifaceted financial news and publishing company, IBN leverages its extensive distribution network, utilizing multiple proprietary corporate communication tools to introduce both public and private companies to a vast and diverse audience of investors, consumers, influencers, journalists, and other targeted segments of the public. IBN may have received compensation to produce this audio content. Please be sure to read IBN's entire disclaimers for full disclosures. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy the next revelatory episode of IBN's Bell podcast.
Hi, once again, we're coming to you live from the Microcap Conference. We're on the floor with all the excitement happening as up-and-coming emerging growth companies are bringing their fantastic stories and growth initiatives. So with me, I'm excited to highlight Mr. Mark Emerson. He is the CEO of AiEnglishGPT. So without further ado, welcome.
Thank
Mark.
you. Great to be here.
Good to sit down with you and catch up. We've had an initial conversation leading up to this event, but now that you've had your presentation, just introduce our viewers and our listeners to who exactly AiEnglishGPT is.
Wonderful. AiEnglishGPT, we are breakthrough technology for education. We've created what we call the super teacher. And the super teachers, they're synthetic humans, if you would, but they look very lifelike. They have a ton of content knowledge, and they become your personal teacher. So they can teach you whatever you need to learn, or your child needs to learn, or a spouse needs to learn, whether it be algebra to another language or help in their homework. The super teachers can do that. That wasn't possible even a few years ago until AI exploded on the system.
100%. And with that explosion, there are some established players in the edutech space, right? Like Microsoft, Google, investing heavily in AI education.
That's right.
What specific technological proprietary algorithms will set AiEnglishGPT, apart from
No, wonderful question. So we are a proprietary system. We are not piggybacked on anybody else's backbone. We don't attach ourselves to Chat, GDP, or anybody else. Everything's proprietary.
Right.
But what is really unique is the amount of content that we have, and it's being translated into the end user's language, that we can truly provide basically a teacher that's talking to the student in Vietnamese or Russian or Spanish and giving them their own personal tutor. That's never been done before by anybody. And we're excited to be the pioneer.
Awesome. Obviously, the breadth of what you'll be doing is going to span hospitality to like AI coding.
Yeah.
That's a wide segment.
That's right.
That you're targeting. How do you balance depth versus, the breadth trade-off as you're building out your content?
Well, look, the answer is there is a philanthropical aspect to what we're doing as well. We want people to be able to change their lives. And now in the world we live in, micro-learning is everywhere. People might want to learn how to be a realtor, or the child needs help at school reading, or they want to be getting into fintech. In our case, maybe they want to do computer programming, and they want to learn at home. They go to their day job, they come home in the evening, they're trying to learn something at night online that helps them get a better income, a better lifestyle. That content and that personal instruction, it's not always out there. And it's not in real time, and it's not in their native language. I'll give you a very real example. In South Asia, every year there are 1 million graduates from nursing colleges, 1 million. And when you interview them, they always say the hardest part of what they're trying to learn is that they don't get any help. They have to master, phlebotomy classes and pharmaceuticals and anatomy. There's a lot they got to learn, and including they have to have English capabilities. Knowing that they have to learn so many topics and they have to do it in a second language also, it leaves them coming home at night from their nursing classes overwhelmed and no help and no one to talk to.
Yeah.
Their spouse can't help them. They don't have a parent that's probably a nurse. So they're stuck. That's an example where we know we can come in and we can provide their personal tutor that says, okay, we can see you're struggling with your phlebotomy classes or whatever, and we can help you.
Right.
Now that's just nursing. Roll that out and think about people trying to become an accountant or a financial advisor, right? Or a teacher in multiple topics. We want to be the source that they come to for personal intervention, acceleration, and know that their tutor, our tutor, really knows what they're trying to learn and where they're trying to go. Test prep fits right in there as well.
Incredible. And, obviously enterprise adoption would be on the list of things to achieve. What metrics would you be looking to measure that would enable and justify that adoption on enterprise level?
Well, so for one, we know that there's a lot of enthusiasm for a B2C market. People are learning in micro-learning, they're learning on their own device. We know that the B2C market is waiting for us, and we're going there. But for enterprise, it's also waiting for us. Massive universities, they have a lot of online content these days.
Right.
They're always having to update it. Sometimes the quality is great, sometimes it's not great. But the universities always want to have a lot of online content. We can provide enterprise licenses for them, white label our AI to help the university have a better class in, let's say, Accounting 101,
Right.
Accounting 201. That's just not for universities. Consider this. We can also help with enterprise licenses for corporations that are doing a lot of onboard training for new employees, or they're trying to provide continuing education for employees.
Yeah.
The way everything works. The employee doesn't want to receive a manual this big, right, from their corporate employer. They say,
Right.
Go home and read this, and we hope you pass the test.
Right.
They want something a little more active. We can do that as well.
Well, good. Now, looking at unit economics, what would you say is your customer acquisition strategy and, the cost? What's that going to cost across different segments?
Right. Okay. So our cost of acquisition for a customer does vary based on the economics of the country. We are a company that's set up to grow internationally rapidly. We can share app to app. That's one thing that brings down our cost of acquisition. Just purely friends sharing it with friends and app to app sharing. We all are familiar with this: TikTok, Instagram, chit chat. We know how these work.
Right.
We do that too. That brings down the cost. Number two, we are going to do a certain amount of social marketing, and get this, it's created by our own AI. So we're not using advertising agencies. We're not using translators. Our AI does it all. So that brings our costs down as well. So as far as acquiring free users and inviting them to become subscribers from the freemium to the premium, our cost of operations is much, much lower than what the industry is used to over the last 20 years. Much lower. Our actual exact price point, I'm not going to tell. I'm going to keep it a secret. We'll see. Internal information.
There we go. And there'll be lots more.
But it's not like it used to be. I can promise you that. It will never be $25 per user. Never. We're talking cents, not dollars, for customer acquisition.
Okay, well, we'll definitely be catching up with you to follow up on that information.
All right.
Now, talk to us about the mini AI language models, right?
Yeah.
They require significant computing resources
Yeah.
to deliver real-time personalized interactions.
That's right.
The infrastructure strategy to maintain, all this quality while scaling, right?
Sure. Right. There's several ways to scale. And as you just said, there's a large language models. There's a smaller language models. Our tech is extremely flexible. We have the capability to do both large and small language models, controlling our cost burn, but also still delivering a really good experience to the end user. And at the end of the day, Carmel, that is what we're trying to do. Create something that is very visual for the learner, where they have a high pixel rate and a moving, high density, lifelike teacher, speaks their language, knows what they're trying to learn, has checked how well they're moving along towards their learning goals. That's what we've created. And if you have the right experience, something is very useful to that end user,
right,
they become a loyal customer. as I am to online resources that come to my mobile phone. By the way, everything we do runs on mobile phone, tablet, computer, no hardware adaptions. It's freeware.
Incredible. So hitting back to the fact that you've presented at the Microcap Conference very recently, what were you hoping to deliver, or what did you deliver in terms of key information, and what are the main takeaways investors should know from that?
Sure. We were here to introduce ourselves to the market.
Yep.
We've been building for a couple of years. AI does take a while. And we are now the technology that is baked and tested, and we're rolling it out. We want to introduce ourselves to the investor market. As far as our growth scale goes, we are app-to-app sharing. We know we're in high demand in a lot of countries around the world. We cover a lot of age groups, from young learners in primary grades all the way to adult learners that have what they want to learn. When you combine, right, multiple countries, app-to-app sharing, social media production, we create our own, lots of content that they want, and an LMS that's monitoring everything that you do, that the end user does to help them move along. That's a great combination. It's not easy to build. Believe me, it's not easy to build, but it's really good for the end user. And we think we're solving problems.
That's the first key, right? Is to solve the problems that the world has. And as you're taking the steps to do that, Mark, what are your expectations for improvement, for growth, for perhaps public listings with over the next 2 or 3 years?
Sure. Well, look, when you create something that's really valuable and appreciated, people will pay for upgrades. People will use your freemium version a lot. They become very loyal, right? And that builds value. Now, that's the first thing. We really want to do that. But I want to point out a personal story that sort of sparks all this. I was in a taxi in Jakarta, Indonesia, and I'm in the taxi. It's quite hot, and I see a woman by the side of the road. She just left the market. She had a small grocery bag in one hand, her baby in the other. Noble and majestic as she was, I knew that her capability to improve her lifestyle was probably very limited. She just didn't have the capability to rearrange her stars, if you would, like we can here, you and I in this booth. Sure. We can if we want. She couldn't. Right. And her story is emblematic of people all over the world in lots of developing nations where they don't have a way to change their employment or their education. With our service, they can. And I love the fact that that woman, whose name I do not know, I didn't even meet her, but she sort of changed my life and my perspective of, we can have an impact, a humanitarian, philanthropic impact on the world with something that's free. And at the same time, we can help those who want to pay for a premium and help them as well. We can do both, and we can do it everywhere in the world. That is a really fun thing to be engaged in.
I couldn't agree more. And, as a native South African, I can totally attest to those numbers of people who, just have very limited resources. As much as it's up to the individual to really take the necessary steps to improve their lives.
Yeah.
When you have the resources and the platforms to do that, it makes it so much easier and places everyone across the world on an even playing field.
Sure.
And it's just up to you to use the resources.
Right. And before, they didn't have those resources, right? AI could not be delivered 2.5 years ago to the end user on a mobile phone. It just couldn't. So at that time, everybody had to resort to just go on a website and learn what you can learn. Really, it didn't change anybody's life that much, not on scale.
Right.
Now, with the high-speed chips of companies that we know and what they're delivering, it has empowered us and everybody else in the AI space, whether it be medical technology, energy, agriculture and foods. Everything is changing, and education is one of those. Now we can deliver something where that woman in Jakarta or someone in South Africa or even in our home country of USA, wherever it is,
right,
they can start to change things on their own and really change things on their own. Not just go to a website. They can really change things for themselves, their children, their spouse, whatever it is.
And
that's what we want to do.
Fantastic. Tell me, what are the main or the first prioritized areas or locations that you will be rolling out?
Oh, great. So geographically, we will be able to demonstrate our AI platform here in the United States. We'll do that, of course.
Yeah.
We think that reading intervention for our primary grade students is really important. So we'll introduce a reading intervention AI here. But in addition to that, we're also launching in Asia, South Asia specifically, and growing into North Asia, where the culture there has a high propensity. They really value their kids' education. They want to learn things that impact their life, whether it be learning English, whether it be getting into hospitality, computer sciences, AI engineering, nursing, as I mentioned before, the aviation industry. There's a lot of there.
Sure.
So Asia. We also know that Eastern Europe and the Middle East are very high impact priority regions of the world.
Yeah.
And since we go app to app, and since we speak in their mother tongues, whether it be Arabic, Turkish, Spanish, or whatever else, we're in a sealing this opportunity right now, and we intend to maximize it. Step on the gas as much as we can, as they say.
Absolutely. And I think one of those ways to step on the gas is being at the Microcap Conference. And have you received all your expectations from being here?
Oh, by far. This has been a wonderful conference. We did our presentation to the room, and there was a lot of enthusiasm. They come up afterwards asking for to follow up with a Zoom. They want to be involved. I think we hit the tuning fork of both philanthropic, but also a great business opportunity. And they see the fact that what we have built is so advanced. They've never seen it before like this, that they realize this is the next wave in education. This company, AiEnglishGPT, has it compiled with a team that knows what they're doing. They see the opportunity.
Fantastic.
And we welcome people. We want them to be part of us.
Yeah, and we're excited to see this roll out because there's definitely a big demand. And I'm sure that being with the Microcap Conference gives you the visibility that's very needed, especially in the space as a startup, new to the market, so to speak, with a great idea. This is where you get that message, that idea out. So thanks for being here. But more importantly, good luck with everything.
Thank you. It's been a wonderful experience. Love the show. I'm a listener. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you, Mark. Appreciate you. This is the Harvest Podcast. I'm Carmel Fisher, and you're listening to me live at the Microcap Conference. Stay tuned for more.
The Bell to Bell podcast is an original content production powered by IBN, a multifaceted financial news and publishing company that delivers next-generation corporate communication solutions. Utilizing proprietary corporate communication tools such as news aggregation and syndication, social communication, and brand awareness techniques, among others, IBN introduces both public and private companies to diverse audiences to enhance reach and recognition. IBN may receive compensation for services and solutions provided to its client partners. You should assume that the owners, officers, and directors of IBN or financial analysts mentioned in this production may hold a position in and may intend to trade the securities in their own accounts. This production is not an offer or recommendation to buy or sell any securities that may be mentioned in this production. The information in this broadcast is presented solely for informative purposes and is not intended to be or should it be construed as investment advice. As in all investments, investment in the featured companies carries inherent investment risk. Listeners should review the companies thoroughly with a registered investment advisor or registered stockbroker. This production by IBN is not purported to be a complete study of the featured company or other companies mentioned. Information used in statements of fact have been obtained from featured companies and other sources but not verified nor guaranteed by IBN as to completeness and accuracy. Such information is subject to change without notice. Please see IBN's full disclaimers and disclosures at www.ibn.fm/disclaimer. Music in this episode is by Infraction. For more, visit inaudio.org.